Human beings assess meat freshness primarily through color. This makes evolutionary sense. We needed quick visual cues to determine if meat was safe to eat. But this biological reality has made meat color the target of sophisticated manipulation by the food industry. And understanding what you're actually seeing when you look at packaged meat could change your purchasing decisions entirely. Let's start with the chemistry. Fresh meat is red because of myoglobin, a protein similar to hemoglobin. When myoglobin is exposed to oxygen, it turns bright red. When it loses oxygen or oxidizes further, it turns brown. Consumers see brown meat and assume it's old or spoiled. Often it's neither, it's just undergone normal oxidation. This harmless color change costs retailers money because people won't buy brown meat. So the industry found solutions, and some of these solutions create serious problems. Carbon monoxide treatment is legal in the United States and remarkably effective. Meat is exposed to small amounts of carbon monoxide gas, which binds to myoglobin and locks it in a bright red state for weeks, far longer than the meat would naturally stay red. The meat looks fresh even when it's not. The European Union banned this practice, considering it deceptive, but it remains common in American meat packaging. You cannot tell by looking whether meat has been treated. Nitrites in cured meats serve multiple purposes, including maintaining the pink color consumers expect in ham, bacon, and hot dogs. Without nitrites, cured meat would turn brown, and consumers would reject it even though brown cured meat isn't necessarily unsafe. The color maintenance is partly about safety signaling and partly about aesthetic expectations we've been conditioned to have. Then there are illegal dyes, occasionally found in processed products during investigations, where manufacturers literally dye meat to improve appearance. Here's what should concern you. The industry exploits the gap between harmless color changes and dangerous bacterial growth. Brown meat isn't necessarily bad. Bright red meat isn't necessarily fresh. The normal correlation between color and safety has been deliberately disrupted. Modified atmosphere packaging, where oxygen levels are adjusted inside packages, affects color too. Reading labels for these treatments gives you information, but many consumers don't know what they're looking for. The regulatory differences across countries reveal how political these decisions are. Practices legal in the US are banned in the EU, and vice versa. This isn't because the science differs, it's because regulations reflect different values about consumer deception versus shelf life extension. When you see meat that looks unnaturally uniform in color, that should trigger questions. Natural variation is normal. Perfect consistency suggests intervention. The health implications layer additional complexity. Some color additives themselves raise concerns. Nitrites form potentially carcinogenic nitrosamines during cooking. Other times, the additives aren't particularly harmful, but they might be hiding bacteriological risks. The question becomes whether you're more concerned about consuming additives or about consuming meat where natural warning signs have been suppressed. What can consumers do? First, understand that color is no longer a reliable freshness indicator in packaged meat. Second, read labels carefully for terms like modified atmosphere packaging or ingredient lists showing color stabilizers. Third, develop relationships with butchers who can tell you about their product's actual age and handling. Fourth, recognize that the safest meat is meat you cook thoroughly regardless of color, because proper cooking temperatures kill pathogens whether the meat looked fresh or not. The color manipulation matters less if you're not relying on color for safety decisions. But knowing you can't trust what you see should make you more careful about other safety factors like temperature control and cooking thoroughness.